everyone. Welcome back to Mandy Weirdmore's classroom. Today's classroom discussion is the flare cycle, something your professor is all too well acquainted with. Now, what is a flare? A flare is something very well known in the chronic illness community. In simple terms, it means you are not at your baseline chronic illness symptoms or pain. It is worse than usual, not under control, or no longer in remission. There is no one person who came up with the word flare-up, but the term was popularized via social media as many chronically ill people will look for outlets online to feel understood because they lack that in real life. Of course, many people with chronic illness ended up resonating with the term flare-up. It is even used in medical settings as well now. A flare-up of conditions can happen for any reason, really. Some examples include stress, lack of sleep, eating habits, viruses, weather, overexertion, and the most annoying one, no reason at all. Today, I'm going to talk about specifically flare-ups caused by overexertion. When I was a patient at Boston Children's Pain Clinic, we learned about something called the boom and bust cycle, which is very similar to what I'm talking about today. Those with chronic pain have good and bad days. On the good days, they want to fit everything into one day, like housework and hanging out with friends and schoolwork all meshed into that one day. The chronically ill person will push their body to its very limits to keep up with their friends, no matter the consequences. This part is referred to as the boom, doing everything all at once. The next day comes the bust, unable to get out of bed due to the pain, putting off taking your medications because that will require getting up, avoiding eating because that requires effort to make the food, etc. The bust lasts longer than the boom because you pushed yourself so hard and don't have enough energy to recover. This, of course, pushes the chronically ill person into a flare. Doing this means the person will have more bad days overall than good days. To represent this cycle, I drew this diagram for y'all. Baseline is being at your best. Of course, you still have symptoms because they never go away, but this is the chronically ill person's average amount of symptoms, the baseline. Next, we have the boom, doing everything all at once. Then comes the flare after pushing yourself to the limits. Next comes the self-loathing and depression because you can't keep up with others around you. You feel bad about yourself. You feel bad that you feel bad. And then you're back to baseline after a while. And you just continue to repeat this. This is so common amongst the chronically ill community that a chronically ill woman with lupus named Christine Miserandino made something called the spoon theory all the way back in 2003, which is really odd to think about because I was only 1 at that time, so it makes me feel incredibly small in the grand scheme of life, but also very comforted because disabled people have always existed, and you're not actually as alone as you feel. It just feels that way a lot because having a chronic illness is super isolating. It's thanks to the disabled people before us we have the rights we do today, and that in itself should make us feel a little bit more okay with the cards we were dealt. The disabledness, We can help the next generation of disabled people like Christine Miserandino by creating terms disabled people can identify with and help understand themselves more. The spoon theory even helps those who are able-bodied, someone who's not disabled, understand disabled chronically ill people better. My mom even uses it to check in on my energy without specifically saying it because it always ticks me off when she says it outright. Anyway, it is about time I explain what the freaking spoon theory is after getting off topic. The theory uses spoons because Christine explained it to her partner over dinner using the closest tools she had to simplify her explanation. I just thought it would be important to mention because when I first heard of it, I was like, what the frick, why are we using spoons? But that's why. The theory is each person starts with a certain amount of spoons a day. The spoons represent energy. The able-bodied person has an insane amount of spoons compared to the chronically ill person. Each activity takes away spoons, aka energy. Spoon levels differ from person to person and each activity. To give you a better understanding, 1 spoon activities are things like getting out of bed, taking medication, watching TV, etc. 2 spoon activities are like styling hair, reading, studying, phone calls, etc. 3 spoon activities are eating, showers, socializing, etc. again. Lastly, 4 spoons are the biggest tasks, like exercising, driving, school, work, shopping, etc. again. Now, what would you choose to do if you only had 12 spoons for the entire day? This becomes impossible to choose. Would you miss out hanging out with your friends, neglect your health, hygiene, and only focus on work and school? Or are you the type of person to put your all into remaining healthy, but then you'll fall behind all your peers? Then those are those who refuse to believe this theory and think they can do it all. I have fallen victim to this myself. If you continue to do all these activities anyway and ignore your body's needs, you will fall right back into the flare cycle I described before, and you'll do this over and over and over again. And you'll be stuck in that constant loop of the flare. If you do continue down this road, the constant flare cycle will not only give you more bad days than good, you'll end up hospitalized more with even more doctor's appointments, missing out even more. So you gotta think about the spoon levels and what you can do in one day without pushing yourself into a flare. And it does take a lot of self-reflection and journaling and figuring out when the symptoms do come. Now, you may ask, what the frick am I supposed to do, though? What do I do? I think everyone with a chronic illness has been there. I still have a bad habit of boom and busting, even though I'm well aware of the flare cycle. The best way to prevent it is pacing out activities to regain spoons or energy, frequent breaks, and if you forget to take a break, like I do because I get really hyperfixated on activities and then forget to take care of myself, set 15-minute timers to remind yourself to stretch and walk around. Accommodate yourself to make life easier, like using a shower chair or a cane or a bottle opener. Now, I may be saying this, but I'm definitely not the best person to listen to. I have some internalized ableism I need to work on because I think it's okay for others to accommodate themselves, but for me, I think I'm too weak. And I'm still struggling to remain out of that cursed flare cycle. Even though I'm literally on disability because every time I work, even a half-time job, not full-time, I get hospitalized. So yeah, I need to work on some things. Speaking of, if you're disabled and have any coping mechanisms you would like to share, please leave them down below in the comments. I would love to read them, and hopefully we can all help each other a little bit with this video and form a good community and help each other understand each other more. Thank you so much for watching and learning a bit about chronic illness life. If you want to learn more about chronic illness life and have chronic illness content, art content, film and animation content, please stick around and subscribe. I would love to see you all. And most importantly, everyone, stay weird. Bye!